People in general become averse to spirituality because the scriptures prescribe so much of sense control. The thought of giving up the enjoyment of sense gratification horrifies them. People even argue that we have been given these senses, and so life is meant for enjoyment. Otherwise, why would God give us senses other than to use and enjoy them? Take, for example, you want to wrap a laddu sweet with a piece of paper. You ask your young child to bring a piece of paper, but somehow he finds a $100 bill and gives it to you to wrap the laddu. You smile at his ignorance, but you counsel the boy and educate him that even though it is a piece of paper, the $100 note should be used for a higher purpose and not merely for wrapping a laddu. Going by this analogy, yes, we have our senses, as do the animals. But the senses of a human being are given for a higher purpose and inquiry. The Vedanta Sutra says, Athatho Brahma Jignasa. Now that you got a human body, inquire into the absolute truth. We obtained this human body after transmigrating through 8 million lower species of animal life. So we should not merely use these senses again like animals and risk going down to animal life in our next body. The senses of animals are naturally designed to be very strong for a particular kind of sense gratification. For example, a hog's body is designed to enjoy eating all kinds of filth. A koala bear can sweep for 20 hours a day. A pigeon can mate hundreds of times daily. A vulture can spot a tiny object from miles. A tiger can enjoy eating all kinds of raw meat and so on. But a human being's senses are not so designed for excessive sense indulgence. So when he tries to abuse them unnaturally, it leads to so many distresses. For example, if we want to enjoy some nice rasgulla sweet and devour 1 dozen of them, that will immediately create indigestion. In this way, any kind of sense gratification will produce an unpleasant result. And in order to enjoy excessive sense gratification, one needs to work hard to earn and deserve such kind of sense gratification. So it takes away the valuable time and energy of a human to just meet the demands of the senses. And more importantly, sense gratification breeds more passion and lust. Bhagavad Gita says that lust is the eternal enemy of the living entity. Lust makes us do so many sinful activities and implicates us in severe loss of karma. The root cause of today's evil in the society is lust. Unfortunately, in this modern day material civilization, success is measured by how nicely we are in a position to enjoy our senses. Advancement of civilization, unfortunately, is only about how to enjoy our senses more and more. In other words, this is animalistic civilization. In the animal kingdom, there is always unrest. One dog barks over the other. One animal fights over the other animal, and so on. So if we remain in such animal consciousness, we cannot expect peace in the society. But people ask, what happiness is there without sense gratification? Doesn't restricting sense gratification lead to mental dissatisfaction and negative energy inside us? Bhagavad Gita says that true happiness is actually beyond sensual happiness. That happiness is on the platform of spirit soul and not the body. Great transcendentalists are always relishing that happiness within. That is the happiness of Krishna consciousness. In order to reawaken to our original happy state of Krishna consciousness, we need to cure our disease of sense gratification. Just like a person suffering from a disease should refrain from doing certain activities, sense control is therefore needed to cure the disease of sense gratification. Bhagavad Gita gives us a twofold method to cure this disease of sense gratification. One is sense regulation and the other is sense engagement. Sense regulation doesn't mean zero enjoyment. It means that we should satisfy our bodily needs only as much as we require to keep our body healthy. Just like we need to take care of our car, service it, clean it, so it can take us to the destination. But if we only keep taking care of the car and forget our destination, the car is of no good. Sense engagement means engaging the senses in serving Krishna, which engages all our senses nicely so that there is no scope for our senses to be degraded to bodily sense gratification. And as we go on serving Krishna, our senses become purified and they develop a higher taste. By the power of the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, we can overcome the lower taste of sense gratification, and thus sense control is automatically achieved. Any other method of artificial sense control is bound to fail because there is no positive engagement of senses like in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, by following the Bhagavad Gita's twofold method of sense regulation and sense engagement, one remains happy and freed from the disease of sense gratification. Hare Krishna.